guys, Miss B. Hanley here again, and today I'm talking about conclusion paragraphs. It should usually include about three things in an argumentative essay or an informative essay. You want to include a restatement of your thesis. Not the exact wording, but you want to drive home the point of your essay again. You also want to give an answer to the question, so what? The whole point of this essay may be to argue for a specific issue or just to explain something that needs to happen in a certain way. Either way, you want to answer that question of what does this really matter anyway for the bigger picture. You want to bring your essay to life by showing your audience that this issue may be bigger than what they thought it was. And at the end, you also want to give any kind of lingering thought. You can end off with a quote that relates to your essay if you didn't start your essay out that way, or you can end off with something that kind of makes your reader think and might lead them to read more information about this particular topic. Let's take a look at what that would look like and how we can see an example of it.
So here we have our first example of a conclusion paragraph format. You'll notice that this example is exactly the opposite of an introductory paragraph format. We want to start off our conclusion paragraph with one sentence that restates our thesis. We want to put it into a new wording format so that our essay doesn't seem repetitive or boring. The example given in this format is using our evidence to show our conclusion. For example, when one considers the first information and the second information, we can conclude that ... The next thing we want to address is the answer to the question, so what? Sometimes this is referred to as a relevancy statement, but it is basically a sentence or two that answers the question, why does this matter anyway? We want to explain how this topic or issue relates to the bigger picture. And last, in our conclusion paragraph, we want to give a kicker or the lingering thought. This can come in the form of a quote or a metaphor, kind of like what we did with our hook in the beginning of our introduction paragraph. But instead of drawing the reader in, this time we're giving our reader the chance to think about our topic on a larger scale or more deeply about the issue that we've discussed in our essay.
So for my example concluding paragraph, I start off with a restatement of my thesis. It's not an exact repetition of my thesis statement, but it does introduce my claim again, and it introduces the three ideas that I discussed in the essay. Freedom of speech should not be restricted because it is protected right, it helps spread ideas, and free speech is a part of our democracy. Those were the three things I talked about in my essay that were a part of my thesis as well. Then I'm answering the so what question. Language and communication are a part of the human experience. If it is restricted, the whole world may miss out on essential ideas that could better our lives. I'm bringing the idea of freedom of speech to the larger picture of the human experience and humanity. And last, I'm giving my lingering thought. Because I started this essay with a quote, I didn't want to end it with a quote. So instead, I gave my opinion about the issue of freedom of speech as well. While there may be people who abuse this right, free speech allows all of us to decide which ideas to shun and which to promote. Here's an example of a concluding paragraph for an informational essay. Again, I restate my thesis at the beginning. Technology encourages students to succeed in school by giving more opportunities to learn, allowing for additional help and inspiring students to be creative. I've restated my reasons and I've restated my claim. Then I talk about the so what. I answer the question, what does this have to do with the larger picture? Everyone can agree that technology is growing exponentially. Embracing that resource is vital to all students' learning and growth. Then I do the kicker or lingering thought, and since I didn't start this essay off with a quote, I decided to end it with a quote. As George Couros once said, technology in the hands of great teachers is transformational. This isn't the full quote, but it did relate to technology and education for how I was using it. I did have a little bit more space to do the full quote, so I could have done it, but I decided to just make it short and sweet and to the point, which you can do. But again, this informational essay does need to have the restatement of the thesis and your ideas, I give my so what, or my answer to the big picture, and then of course I leave it off with a lingering thought that can make my readers kind of say, oh, you know, she's right, maybe we should have in technology in our classrooms. So there you go, conclusion for our informational essay. So alright guys, that's it for conclusion paragraphs. We are moving on to our next topic, so please make sure to check out the next video, and I will see you in class. Bye!